In this video, I'm going to share with you how I unlock the power to The Feeling is a Secret by Neville Goddard. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand how you can unlock it in your own life. Now, before we get into the 3 things that I found that completely unlock this power, I want to give you a little bit more context. In case you're new and don't understand what The Feeling is a Secret is, I want to share it using Neville's words. Now, to be clear, a feeling is not a flash of emotion. Emotion is a component to a feeling, but the feeling is a deep view or lens or relationship to how your needs get met, how you're to be treated, all of that. That is how you see reality. Whether that knowing is objectively true or just a truth to you, your subconscious will objectify it in your outside world. Now, let me share with you how Neville described the importance of the feeling. Sensation, meaning feeling. Sensation precedes manifestation. So realize the feeling is before your outside manifestation and is the foundation upon all manifestation rests. Be careful of your moods and feelings, for there is an unbroken connection between your feelings and your visible world. Realize the feeling is what is objectified or manifest or is attracted to you in your outside world. So the feeling is the origin of all your outside circumstances. You don't create that in other people, but you draw it to you, and that's the lens in which you perceive. So let me share with you another quote. Through your ability to think and feel, so realize, imagine and feel, you have dominion over your creation. When you use your mind to start to imagine an entirely new you, construct a new self-concept, change your assumptions, and then take that into the sensation realm, that is when you begin to have power and begin to tap into the creation realm of your reality. Now, the last quote that I want to share with you, and this I believe is where many people go wrong, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. The quote is, whenever your feeling is in conflict with your wish, feeling will be the victor. So if you consciously, if your thoughts, if your imagination is thinking of something, but your deep feelings and the sensations and your lens of how you see yourself conflicts with that, your feeling, your self-concept, your assumptions will reign over your idea of your wish fulfilled. Now, you've got to get these on the same page, which we're going to talk about in the 3 keys that I'm going to share with you that I personally used in my own life. Now, I used to be constantly rejected, constantly find people who weren't that interested, who were wishy-washy. Over and over, I tried, I put in lots of effort, I would watch videos, and nothing changed. It only started to change when I realized my inner dynamics with myself and really how I was just seeing that observed in my outside world. Ultimately, how I was perpetually self-abandoning myself, and then I would just find and be attracted to people who would also abandon me. Before we get into the 3 keys that will completely change the way that you experience The Feeling is a Secret, I want to share with you the biggest mistake that people make. So ideally, this is going to bring a lot of awareness on why you might be frustrated, why you might not feel that The Feeling is a Secret actually works. Because of this, you might be using your imagination, you might be spending a lot of time visualizing of the wish fulfilled, okay? So you are spending a lot of mental time thinking of this, but currently your feeling state is here in the old self-concept. Maybe that's finding abandonment or rejection or no one that wants to commit to you. Maybe it's about money. Money abandoned you. Money is never there when you need it. And really, your wish fulfilled has that amount of money. It has that love. So remember that quote that said that if you have a wish fulfilled that you want, but your feeling contradicts it, this is what you'll collapse the wave of potential into reality. Quantum physics and the double slit experiment shows us that all possible realms of you exist right now. Every possible thing that you could be. Now, all of that exists in wave form, potential form. Potential meaning that we can't actually observe it with our eyes. So the only way to experience it with our senses is to focus on it. And that focus actually collapses it and makes it a particle, makes it able to be experienced. So your thoughts are thinking of the potential, but your feelings are collapsing that experience into particle form. So the biggest mistake people make is they stay in thinking of the wish fulfilled and feeling the current undesired reality. And a lot of people, including myself before, thought, okay, well, how in the world would I change the way I feel if nothing outside of me has changed? That's just silly. I need to experience the person who can love me before I release my connection that I'm not deserving. I need to see the amount of money so I can release my attachment that I'm not deserving of that money. But it works the opposite way. It's an internally oriented system. So when you shift, when you start to feel, which we're going to talk about how to do this in just a second, but you have to, yes, use your imagination to create the vision you want. But before you see any change, you'll need to start to tap into the feeling of what this will be, including the concept of yourself, which is a culmination of assumptions. Before anything changes in your outside world, you'll have to dramatically change your feeling realm so you can start to manifest or draw it into your life. It works from the inside out. It's internally oriented. That's why you continue to see the repeated circumstances over and over. You're not trying, but it's objectifying. It's finding the outside to prove that this is all you are. So it's going to take a little bit of work early on to start to learn how to do this. It's just like a skill. Think of every skill you've learned since you were born. It's the same as that. Learning how to feel something you've never felt, which I'm going to show you how to do, and releasing this attachment here, which I'm also going to show you to do a little later in this video. Waiting for the outside to change so you feel different inside is the biggest mistake that most people make. And when you learn that it's an inside out experience, you will begin to open your potential to really tap into this power. All right, so we are at step number 1, what you'll need to do so you can start unlocking the power of the feeling is a secret. Well, what is it? Why can't you just go from the current self-image or the current state of feelings to the wish fulfilled, right? If it was so easy, why wouldn't you be able to do it? Well, there's a block. And what is this block? Assumptions. Now, assumptions are from past experiences, most likely from birth to about 7 years old. You had an experience with somebody or something, and you took a snapshot of who you are or what it meant or why you weren't able to get the thing that you needed. Now, in that snapshot, you start to store it subconsciously. Now, this could have looked a lot of different ways. You could have grown up in a very violent and rough experience where it would make more sense, like, yeah, I didn't get what I needed when I was younger. I was told that I wasn't good enough. That would make sense as to why you might have negative assumptions. Well, you could also have experienced a lot of peace or a lot of quietness and think, well, what's wrong with me? Why do I have these assumptions? Because it's about what you did not get and the meaning you put on that, or how you were treated. If some adult treated you poorly, oh, that's because of me. I wasn't good enough. If I was good enough, they would have treated me better. And the reason this is happening is because as a kid, there's a power imbalance. The adult, basically, we have to trust them. We have to be all in because our survival depends on their competency. If not, then we might as well go out the door at 5 or 6 years old because we're better off than if we stayed at home. So we have to abide by that early on environment. This is where we start to fragment ourselves, where we start to detach or start to create meanings and assumptions. Now, those assumptions, unless brought back up and re-reasoned, which I'm going to show you in just a bit how to do, you'll continue to attach to them. So as much as you try to go here, you'll just continue to hit this wall. Or maybe you go here a little bit, but then something pulls you right back. Because until you change your self-concept, the image of who you can be and be safe, who you can be and get your needs met, until you change that and upgrade it, it will be just like a slingshot that brings you back. That's a cybernetic mechanism. Your cybernetic basically frame or cage or boundary, whoa, don't go over there. The subconscious is going to yank you back. It's going to sabotage. That you can't be seen. Being seen means you're going to be embarrassed. Being seen means you're going to be harassed. Because if you look early on, being seen could have been called selfish. And if you were a selfish kid, what do selfish kids get? They get punishment. They get maybe isolation. They get removed from their needs. So if you can start to see, oh, no wonder I have this deep unconscious association that if I go towards that feeling, it's like I'm going to touch a hot stove, so I'm going to stay away. But let me show you just a quick snapshot on one way you can start to dissolve these assumptions. If this video is resonating and you want a little bit more help with your specific situation, I'm available for one-on-one sessions. We'll sit down over Zoom, we'll break down exactly what's happening so that you can start to become more aware of how you can start to shift in different moments. Since I've opened up my sessions again, I've had some incredible results with the people I've worked with, and I really want to help and open your eyes to how powerful you really are. So if this resonates, click that link below and I will email you. Now I'm going to give you just a quick example. So potentially right now you want to attract a loving, safe relationship, but your connection to your caregiver, your primary attachment figure when you were little, they maybe didn't have enough time for you. Maybe they were really, really busy. Maybe they said, oh God, what, you're always asking for something. What is it this time, right? So in this moment, you needed this adult to attune to you so that you could essentially have kind of guiding wheels, training wheels emotionally to experience the world and could feel safe and navigate those. But if you didn't get that, you could feel that you reaching for that is wrong. That you're going to find somebody who wants to move away from you because you're too much. So because you're too much, you're not worthy, right? If you were enough, then they would have had time for you. They would want to connect to you. It might not even be a mental idea, and you don't have to remember the specific instance. But what you got to do is say, okay, what proof do I have that I'm not worthy? And these things might pop up. Okay, why is it that I can't have love? Why can't I attract a romantic relationship? I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. Okay, can you start to see this dynamic? Now, the big way that we can dissolve this glue that's attaching and holding this all together is to start to see it with your adult mind. Start to see, oh, okay, I thought I wasn't enough all this time. And I can see my caregiver early on was totally overwhelmed. Their emotional capacity was not there. They emotionally did not have the space for me. They didn't have the space for anybody. So they were overwhelmed. I was not too much. So you can start to remove these. I was not too much, because you're seeing this situation rather than you being told or you forming who you are based on how they treated you. You're starting to detach from this and see it, re-reason, use your left brain in this situation. Oh, I was enough. Oh, I thought I wasn't worthy. Actually, maybe they didn't have the emotional maturity to connect with me. Maybe they had their own trauma and they blew a circuit when they experienced that love. Maybe it tapped on their wounds. So I can start to see I was always worthy. I am a soul in a human body. I am inherently worthy of love and connection. The more you do this, the more you take back the ownership and the copyrights to your self-concept. So now let's get into step 2. So the easiest way that I found to start to feel something I'd not yet experienced was to get first, just like a spark to a flame. If you're going to throw a match into a bonfire, we're going to use the end emotion so we can start to navigate and orient to this feeling. So maybe a relationship, it's not about some person sitting next to you watching TV, right? It's going to be an emotion, an aspect, a state of being, that concept of yourself. Okay, maybe a relationship means that you are seen, and that's a big emotional need for you. Maybe it's about that connection. Maybe it's about stability. What is the end emotion that you associate or attach with a relationship? You could do this for money. You can do this for a job. But how can you start to create the spark? Remember, it's not the emotion is the feeling. The emotion is just one component. But that emotion can start to give you an ability to start to connect with this feeling, this state of being, this concept of yourself. Then you can start to construct your assumptions around that emotion. Who would you need to be to feel worthy to be seen, where being seen was safe? And as you start to do this, it's going to be so much easier to start to flow in the emotion. Even if it's just a little bit, you're practicing. No professional player in sports comes onto the field day one as an expert. Everyone is in a learning curve. And the more you realize that that feeling takes a skill, takes some repetition, and get a little bit more strategic, this can radically change your experience with it. And last, but certainly not least, we're going to go game time. What is your vote going to be in the moment? How are you going to mind this gap? As you're starting to dissolve the old assumptions, as you're starting to practice these emotions to create that long feeling, now it's going to be the moment. Oh no, you want to be in a relationship, the person you like, they don't call. What vote of concept are you going to make in that moment? The old one, where the reason that they're not calling you is because you're not worthy, not good enough? Or is it going to be, I'm not sure what's going on here. I got to stay with my breath. And just like Neville said, watch your moods, watch those feelings, watch the stories that come in real time in the moment. As you start to do this, awareness of it, I'm starting to tell myself that I'm not good enough. That's the old story. No, I'm going to breathe. I'm going to regulate my nervous system. I'm going to stay in my body, and I'm going to make a new choice. Maybe I'm going to go for a walk. Maybe I'm going to journal. Maybe I'm going to create something with my hands. How can I take care of myself in this moment because I am worthy, because I am good enough, and because I'm going to see myself having a bit of a rough moment and needing some support, and I'm going to do that myself. And maybe I reach out to a friend, right? This is not in isolation, but you are essentially tapping into the true golden rule, treating yourself like you want others to treat you. How can you start to master self-consideration? As you do, tapping into the feeling, being in that feeling in the moment, you will open up an entirely new world to perceive of, and that experience of those new situations will dramatically shift your level of consciousness, which is the level of all manifestation. And now if you're still wondering, okay, how in the world am I supposed to feel something I've never experienced? Don't worry, I've created this whole video to break down exactly how you can start to do that. So check that video out right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I love y'all.